Right, Robyn Scherr-Wells, the head coach at the University of Evansville, one of our favorites on the podcast, representing the Missouri Valley. Robyn, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. We are in the thick of the season right now, right? It's the busy time of year.
I know. How's it going? Give us a little breakdown.
Well, we are right in our finals break, Rich, right now. So we've had a big stretch off, or we had, I think, 10 days between games, which was good. We've got a really young group. We've battled a lot of injuries. And so this has been, a time to try to let some bodies heal a little bit, mentally regroup, try to get our young kids feeling more confident. We've had kind of a tough start. So it's been good, to give them a chance to focus on their finals and, and get back to playing some basketball.
One of the things that I've always admired about the Valley coaches is the tough non-conference schedule. And once again, the results may not have been exactly what the Valley overall had hoped for, but it still doesn't diminish the effort that we're seeing. A lot of close games, 1 or 2 possession games. And then, of course, some teams, their record's just a little bit misleading right now. How do you think that's going to all shake out?
I hope certainly in our case that it is preparing us for conference play, because it's not going to get easier. And while it's certainly been tough, we did schedule tough, and we've lost 4 games that were a 1 possession game with under 2 minutes to go. And, when you're young, sometimes you just haven't learned totally how to win yet in those moments,
Right.
When you're 1 play away and you're relying on a bunch of freshmen and sophomores to make that 1 play. And it's just stuff that we've got to grow through. But I do, when I look at our conference and I go, I do feel like we're playing games that are going to prepare us for that. And we certainly could go out and schedule, easier games and, a non D1 game here or there. And we just don't do that. We've played 2 Big Ten teams and good mid-major teams, and the rest of our conference does that as well.
I saw Barbara had a double-double in the last game, so she started to pick up her game in the middle. How about the sisters? What's it like coaching them?
Yeah, it's really unique. I've actually never had the chance to coach sisters, in any capacity at the college level. So it's, they have some really similar traits, and then they're really different people at the same time. So, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to the same person, then other times like not that at all. But, certainly, they had a chance to win a state championship together in high school. And so it's really unique, it's fun. And it's fun watching their dynamic, and certainly special for them to be playing together.
Are they the kind of sisters that challenge each other for the good, or are they the kind of sisters that are after each other all the time? Like one of them might be driving themselves home and the other one's walking home, like, because they're arguing on the court. Like, is anything like that going on with those two?
No, they're more challenge each other for the good, and they're very competitive. And we saw that early on. I remember like an early preseason practice, we're out there playing, they were on different teams, and one of them hard fouled the other. And I was like waiting for a reaction, and there was just none. They just got to the next play, and I was like, oh, they've been there before. This has happened, and they've learned not to. They truly don't. I mean, they're each other's biggest supporter. They don't take it off the court with them. So I think they're very competitive, but I do think they handle it really well.
When you start looking at the conference, and there's not a dominant team this year, it seems like there's a lot more balance than there's been in years past. There was some separation, but it doesn't seem to be that case right now. Certainly not right now. When you're looking at the league overall, and you're trying to keep your kids' spirits up, and you're trying to challenge them every day to stay positive, what are some of the things that you're offering to them right now to keep their spirits going and keep them competitive through Christmas?
Yeah, we really have overall tried to, keep the game in front of us, on our mind, that type of mentality. But certainly as we headed into this little finals break here, and we came out of another tough loss, we did start talking about Missouri Valley play, and the fact that, coming out of Christmas, we open up with Indiana State, which is a good rivalry game. And, we did start looking at that of like, hey, no matter how, this next stretch goes, and obviously I always think we're winning the next one. Like, we're trying to win the next game. There's no question, right? So, don't get me wrong in that, but we did start talking about like these next 3 games have to be the mindset of we are like moving towards conference play. And it's a chance, for our season to start anew in a lot of ways. And so, certainly we've started having a little bit of a mind of how do we get ready for MVC play, and that there's a lot of, good games in front of us that we feel we can win.
Your region has a player that everyone knows called Caitlin Clark. I'm just curious because I call it Clarkonomics. I think she is the one time that I've, in all the years that I played against Cheryl Miller and covered everybody since, that she has changed the game in a lot of ways. Have you seen any effect, Caitlin Clark effect, Clarkonomics, Clarkology, anything that is happening on your own campus or in your region or when you're recruiting or anything like that?
It continues to just shine a light on women's basketball in general. And we saw that over the last 2 years because we played Iowa, each of my first 2 years here. So, certainly as, we were preparing for those games of just, even more talk about her and, kind of tease our players that like, you'll always be able to say that, we had to go up to Iowa and play against one of the best basketball players out there in your time. So, but women's basketball is in a really good spot right now. There's been so many good games and, so many good top 25 games and good upsets. And, so, I just think that we all need to keep capitalizing on this momentum that women's basketball has. And certainly players like Caitlin Clark does a lot of great things for our sport.
One of the things I love talking to you about is Michigan. You have a great legacy with Michigan, and you have an interesting story about your time at Michigan. And now they're the #1 seed in the college football playoffs. And there's some controversy around them, obviously. But I was just curious, like, are you you got the maize and blue out when football rolls around? I mean, you got the flag hanging in front of the house. What do you got going on?
I'm so prideful about, being the Evansville head coach. And so it's tough when, when you're in a small town. I never wear Michigan stuff out because Evansville is my school. But certainly when I'm home and I'm watching football, the Michigan sweatshirt does come out. Mine are all pretty old. They're huge on me. They're like the, early 2000s style. But I've bought, my son Jed, I bought him a, Michigan jersey and those type of things. And, I've taught him to say go blue, and we still got to work on the fight song, but it is, there's always that pride that you have in your, in your alma mater. And it's certainly been fun. I think, watching them with football, it's just a testament to trying to keep the main thing.
Right.
There were so many distractions and so many, spaces over the course of their season where all of that could have, caused fracturing or just not keeping focused on the right things. And, what a testament to those young men, and how they've stayed focused on just winning games and not let the outside noise, you can either let that divide you or you can let it bring you together. And they clearly showed that it brought them together.
Do you set your calendar for all your tasks, all the things you got going on to make sure that you're locked in with a beverage and some snacks for the Michigan-Alabama game? Like, are you going to be like, I know you're a big football fan. Are you just going to be like totally zeroed in?
Because it's still a ways away. I haven't even checked to see where it falls in our game schedule. So I'm going to have to
I don't
look
even
at
know
that.
either where.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at that. I used to, especially when I was a little bit younger and coaching, like used to really know when all the football games were lining and if I was going to be able to see them or not. And then it's just, you get further into it and you kind of get closer to the game. And then like the day before I'll check and be like, oh, what time are they kicking off? Am I actually going to see this game or not? But I've watched a few Michigan football games on the bus this year already. So.
You mentioned Jet, and we have watched you raise him on Nothing But Net, because first time we ever interviewed you, I don't think you had him yet. And then every year we get a chance to talk to you about him. Does he get the Santa Claus thing? Has he sat on Santa's lap? Did he cry? How's it going?
I didn't think he'd be interested in seeing Santa because he does normally cry in those situations. But we kind of, I took him yesterday to the mall and we got close and he looked like interested. So I might actually try a picture with Santa. We'll see. But my husband has taught him that Santa equals presents. I don't know that that's the best lesson, but so now when we say Santa, he goes presents. He turned 2 in October. So he's, 26 months. And but yeah, it's a really fun age. And he's, we have the tree up and the whole lot of like, you can look, but not touch, all those things. We're having to teach all those things right now.
Yeah. What is your favorite part about being a mom with your family around Christmas time?
it's just the magic of the season. And, you know, my parents always made it so special for me. And that's like, you feel that you want to pass that. And I know, I'm sure you feel the same way. You just want to pass that down to your kids. You want your kids to have a magical season. And, you know, it really isn't about the presents. It is about just being together and kind of the joy and the wonder. And it's fun to see it through the eyes of a kid. And so just enjoying that part, you know, and he's still at the age where, you know, he doesn't totally get it, but I think he gets the fun, and I think he gets kind of the joy part of it. And, you know, next year, I'm sure he'll have a much better understanding of Santa Claus and all those things, but it's fun watching them go through these, you know, these seasons of their life. And, yeah, just a lot of joy and wonder seeing it through their eyes.
I'm going to guess that Jet wasn't old enough to say that Abby and Anna, your players who were just, I think they were there for 15 years, were his favorite players. And you're learning life without Abby Fight and without Anna, a point guard. And, you know, how's the transition going? And, you know, how much do you miss them, or how much are you proud of the legacy that they've left the program in a better spot?
So proud of them. You know, I just feel so blessed that I had the chance to coach them for 2 years. And just, I knew what I had when I had them. I don't think I ever took that for granted. And, you know, you also know when your time is done with them. So I've just been so fully focused on my group. But there's just those moments where, because we are really young, we have this very young team and we have some talent, but it's just young. And we don't have very many older, experienced leaders beyond Barbara. And, you know, so we just got this young group, and you have those moments you're like, oh, like, that's where I see, like, you know, Anna had some ability to step in there and bring some experience and bring some, you know, just real calm and steadiness to the group. And it's, you know, and it's not that my current group isn't trying to do that. They're just young, you know, and that's just where they're at. And so there's certainly moments where, you know, I do recognize a little bit of that, that hole just hasn't totally been filled yet. And it will eventually, but those are big shoes to fill. And I try to be really careful about not comparing, you know, our current group, you know, to those two were their own individuals. That was their team. And, you know, this is our team now. But, you know, really, I was just very fortunate. I think those two were great examples of leaders, and, you know, really fortunate to have had a chance to coach them.
When I watch film on your team and you're playing at home, I think you have one of the brightest gyms. Like, the colors are bright. It's white. It's good lighting. It's a shooter's gym. You know, it makes me want to come in there and take some shots. You know, when you look at the facilities and the things that you have in place and where you've taken the program to the next step, you know, what are a couple of things, Robyn, that you think that would be important for people to know about what you're doing?
Yeah, you know, I think because we have a small gym, right? We're in this like small arena in our conference, and it's unique. I think sometimes people have the, you know, a little bit of the misconception that our facilities aren't comparable, but, you know, we have our own practice facility that's just for women's basketball, that's separate from our playing gym.
Wow.
You know, so I mean, we're never competing with other teams for practice time. Like, you know, our kids have 24-hour access to a gym that's just for women's basketball with 2 shooting guns. And, you know, it was one of the reasons why I wanted the job at UE. Is I just felt like we were really set up for future success. And, you know, I knew it was going to take time, and, you know, we're still building and growing. We graduated a huge group last year, but I know that we have the support and the things in place here to be successful. And in our gym, although unique and different, but it is unique. I think it's a really tough place to come in and play for opponents. And I love that. It gets so loud in there, you know, in those tight games. And so I think that's a real great advantage and a really unique thing. And our community, they're wonderful, you know, and it just gives them a chance to be more closely connected to us.
Well, it is the state of Indiana, and the state of Indiana loves its hoops. And I enjoy traveling across the state and getting a chance to call games. So I look forward to the next time I'm in town, I'm coming in your gym to get a workout and get some shots up.
You are always welcome. We got a gun for you. We got rebounders. You come on by anytime.
All right. Thanks, Robyn. We appreciate you being with us on Nothing But Net.
Thanks, Debbie. Happy holidays.